Alright, let's fucking record a YouTube video again. McLaren had choked 7 race wins before the summer break, and that's actually 8 if you count the shit show that was the Hungarian Grand Prix. You know, where Lando Norris was given the lead and then forced to give it back to Oscar Piastri. 3 of these chokes came at the expense of Lando Norris doing what he does best, losing positions on the first lap. Not to mention, 2 of these were from pole. Like in Spain, where he turned Cheeks Verstappen's RB20 into a lawnmower, and in Hungary, where he chopped across Oscar Piastri and almost lost 3 positions as a result. But when we returned from the summer break, first lap Lando qualified on pole once more, and like clockwork, lost the lead in the first corner. And then nonchalantly dick-slapped the entire field by 20 seconds.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So now everyone's flipping shit, Red Bull fans are calling the McLaren illegal, Logan Sargent's getting fired, and normal people are excited for the possibility of a championship fight. Because not only are McLaren cooking the entire grid, but Red Bull are getting slower and slower. So McLaren's just going to dominate the rest of the season, right? Well, there's actually one slight problem. McLaren is the dumbest and most oblivious team on the entire grid.
It's a poor start for Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen takes the lead. Dealing Max Verstappen, he tries to chop across
Sergio Perez, and there's Lando Norris getting onto the ground. Going very slowly down the straight. Oscar Piastri takes the lead.
Y'all are trash. Like y'all are so trash.
So coming into Monza, they're plotting and scheming on how creatively they're going to fuck this one up. But as they're all in a group huddle deciding how to fuck up the strategy, they hear a strange noise. What was that? Oh, it's Kim Jong-Antonelli driving his second lap ever in a Formula 1 car. I'm sure he'll do great things. Anyways, as the sun goes behind the clouds, let's get down to business. In qualifying, Yuki Tsunoda had another one of his episodes on the radio after qualifying P16.
It's so ridiculous.
Franco Colapinto nearly does a Logan Sargent on his first push lap in Formula 1. Cheeks Verstappen qualifies P7. Mushroom Gorge Russell somehow slaps at P3. Yeah, I'm sure that'll last. And McLaren lock out the front row. Oh boy. I wonder what they're gonna do this time. So now it's race day, but before any of the drivers have even woken up, the F3 race is going on, and it's getting a little frisky. The F3 championship is still very much on the line going into the final race at Monza, with Trident driver Leo Fornaroli leading high-tech driver Gabriele Mini by 5 points. But let's be real, I'm not here to give a debrief on the F3 race, so let's get down to business. Stop, let's pause it here. There's 2 laps to go, and Mini has just passed Fornaroli out of the Prima Variante. But, as it stands right now, Mini still doesn't have enough points to win the Chizzy because he needs Ravioli to lose another position. Luckily for him, Christian Mansell is on Ravioli's ball sack coming through the Curva Grande, and after Mini throws a move to help Mansell take the position, they exit the Seconda Variante with Mini leading the championship. Now it's the last lap, and no positions have changed, and as we head towards the Parabolica, it looks like Ravioli has run out of luck and the championship is going to Mini.
One more corner to try and do it. Will he send?
Oh, fuck, you cheeky little bastard. Ravioli absolutely sends one down the inside on a Mansell in the Parabolica and gets the points he needs to win the championship, and sending Gabriele, I don't fucking know. He goes into a spiral of depression. I mean, what a move, right? I mean, that was fucking incredible. Oh. Well, I guess none of that fucking mattered then. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I don't cover F3, because I just wasted however many seconds of your life. It was actually 1 minute and 19 seconds on my clock, on a race that was ruined by deflated tires and Alpine tears. So let's get back to the F1. On the race start, first lap Lando still chops across the track like a fucking idiot, but somehow manages to hold his position into the Prima Variante. I honestly was shocked, and as a closeted Lando Norris fan myself, breathed a sigh of relief and settled in for a nice Sunday drive to the finish.
And Oscar Piastri's going all the way around the
Wait, what the fuck? Oscar Piastri, you absolute demon. Look, I won't lie. This move was satanically good. But now Italy's protagonist, Charles Leclerc, has slotted into second place, and Lando has no choice but to sit back as the first tire management phase kicks off. Now it's time for the first pit stop, and McLaren frantically decides to bring Lando in for the undercut on Charles. The call was so frantic, in fact, that it caused Lando to forget how to use his brake pedal and hit the little pylon bollard thing on the pit entry. Nice move, dipshit. But the pit stop was clean, and Lando did successfully undercut Charles. Now that the race is continuing on, let's take a brief Kevin Magnum wearer intermission. What's he doing right now?
Magnussen trying to pull off another overtake, and this time wasn't as special as the move at the first chicane.
Just your average race day for good old Magnum wearer. But in all seriousness, 10 seconds for a little lockup? That's actually wild. His buddy Nico Hulkenfuck attempted murder onto Yuki Tsunoda into turn 1, and that is worthy of a 10-second penalty. But a little lockup and a kiss on the cheek from Kevin Magnussen, I'd pay good money for that. And not only did Magnussen get dished a 10-second penalty, the day of reckoning is finally here. He's reached the threshold. He now has a race ban. Unbefucking-leavable. Hashtag justice for the Magnum wearer. Hashtag void lap 18. Hashtag I fucking hate the FIA. He is the only fun driver on the grid, and I will not stand for this oppression anymore. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled programming. On lap 31, we get this message from Charles Leclerc's race engineer.
Norris starting to struggle. This is when Red Bull starting to have graining.
Lando is in fact starting to struggle with his front left tire, but what I gathered from this radio message is that this new guy who replaced Xavi as Charles's race engineer in Miami already sounds exactly like Xavi.
Stay out. Fuck! Norris starting to struggle.
Like, is it something that just happens when you put on the headset? You automatically just have the thickest and most annoying accent in the world engineered to piss off Charles Leclerc? Because it does piss him off. I mean, listen to this radio from later in the race.
And brake balance +1.
Leave me alone with this.
I mean, I'd be pissed too if I had to listen to that buzzing in my ear all day. Oh, look, Lando's in the pits. I guess he's opting for a 2-stopper today, which is kind of dumb, but fuck it, you go, girl. Now, Piastri has a comfortable 5-second lead over Charles, and by this point, you have to go with the 1-stopper. Right?
Racy, aggressive, not much room for him. To Oscar Piastri in the pits.
Jesus fucking Christ. Look, I mean, it doesn't look that stupid as it's happening in front of your eyes, so maybe this was McLaren's way of trying to hide their dumb fucking strategy, but you are quite literally screaming with a megaphone, "Hey Charles, you should do the 1-stop because we're just giving you a 20-second lead with 15 laps to go because we love you." See, when you phrase it like that, it sounds a lot more stupid. I thought they would have learned from, when they did the exact same fucking thing in Spa, but this is McLaren we're talking about, and they're a little slow in the head. Speaking of slow in the head, we got to add a new term to our vocabulary from this McLaren radio message.
And Lando, cars ahead of Oscar are Perez and Verstappen, who haven't stopped yet. You are allowed to race Oscar Papaya rules.
Jesus Christ. This is like when Jason Tatum tried so hard to have an iconic NBA Finals moment, or when that random kid from your high school who just lost his 8th JV football game of the season hits the Stephon Diggs pose after the game. Papaya rules. They really thought they did something there. I'm sorry, McLaren, because at the end of the day, I will still support this godforsaken team, but Jesus Christ, that was cringe. I already know Zach Brown came up with that one in the pre-race briefing. Anyways, in the third stint, McLaren are quicker than Ferrari, but not quick enough as Charles beats Piastri to the checkered flag by over 2 seconds. Now let's take a step back from the McLetdown for a second and just appreciate this win for Ferrari and Monza.
Present on the Formula One calendar.
Alright, let's step back in. This is now the 8th race McLaren has carelessly pissed away over this season, and we've had 16 fucking races. We finally got a peep out of Andrea Stella breaking through and saying, maybe we do need some fucking organization. But then Fat Boy Brown comes back and says, "We have always believed in having 2 number 1s. That's always been McLaren's way. It can be difficult to manage. We've seen it with Senna and Prost." Oh, so we're comparing this fuckery to Senna and Prost, are we, Fat Boy? I don't see where Senna and Prost pissed away a driver's championship because of dogshit strategy. I don't see where Oscar and Lando are winning a combined 8 world championships because of their sheer driving talent. I'd love to riff on this a little bit more, but you get my point, and I'm getting so tired of shitting on McLaren. This is a team sport, but the driver's championship is not won by having 2 drivers who are constantly told to do whatever the fuck they want and fuck up each other's races. Unless you're hybrid-era Mercedes. But regardless, I think there is absolutely 0 chance Lando Norris wins the driver's title this year, and quite honestly, I don't think the Constructors is in the bag just yet with how they've been looking. But average F1 consumer, they still pulled off a double podium. What's the big deal? These flaws are much deeper than a shoddy pit crew or the occasional mistake in a corner. The core dynamic of this team is completely wrong, and pretending not to care which driver succeeds, that's a recipe for disaster. Again, Piastri's move on Lando was sick as fuck, and I respect his giant Australian balls. But when we look at it from a big picture perspective, the team should have prevented this very risky move from happening in the first place. I'm not doubting Oscar's driving style here, but I'm just going to say that if this move was altered by mere centimeters, it could have very easily resulted in both drivers out of the race, and the entire team taking a 2-week-long torture session from the media. Just my thoughts. And Oscar Piastri made fun of Lance Stroll in the post-race interviews, so that was really funny.
He had Stroll driving like it was his first go-kart race and not, I don't know what went through his brain when he saw his blue flag.
The next race is Baku, though, which either has 7 million safety cars or 0 safety cars. And without Kevin Magnussen, I'm going to go with the former. So, will McLaren finally get their shit together in Baku? Don't ask me because I won't be watching. Because you know what they say, if the Magnum ain't there, the racing's too fair. And you'll catch me dead before you catch me watching an F1 race without Kevin Magnussen. Man, I don't even need to do that anymore. I have an outro.